What is the most difficult development project you've had, and how did you deal with the challenges that came up?
In my last job, I had a project doing a product lifecycle management program. Basically, I was in charge of developing it from scratch. There was another programmer that I worked with. He hadn't really developed the experience to understand that error handling is extremely important. And so he basically just simply wrote his code, and he thought, well, if my code works now, fine. I tried to get him to implement error handling. He didn't want to, so basically the challenge was working with him in such a way that I got his cooperation without offending him. And so I basically worded it along the lines of, this would really help me out if you could, add this additional code in here for me. And he's like, all right, so problem solved.
How would you explain the software development lifecycle, SDLC, to someone who was 5 years old, if you had to explain that concept?
Okay, software development lifecycle. I like to use analogies. So the first stage is planning. So that would be kind of like going out in the backyard and deciding to build a tree house. And so you're planning, let's see, where it's going to go. The next stage is defining it, basically kind of like figuring out how big it is, how far off the ground it's going to be, and things like that. And then designing it would actually be sitting down and starting to hammer out the details out on paper to basically say, okay, so this is the lumber that I'm going to need, this is what I'm going to do, and then the next stage is building, which is literally going out and building the treehouse. There's testing, which, like if I was building a treehouse before I let my child climb up into it, I'd actually go up there and stomp on the floor and make sure that it's good and solid and make sure there's no problems with it. Then I deploy it by asking my son to come up. All right, let's check it out. And then it basically kind of goes from there into maintenance, which is, strip the leaves off, occasionally, check all the boards, make sure that all the nails are solid, hammer down the nails.
So what drives you? What makes you want to move into that Acumatica ERP space as a developer?
At my last job, I did different types of programming. I did like web programming. I did a standalone program that you basically launch from like your start menu. The last program I wrote was basically flat out. I wrote all the code. I wrote the error handling. I wrote the back end. I wrote the database interactions, and that was fun. But when I started looking at the Acumatica, I noticed that there's stuff in there that just simply makes it quicker and easier to implement a solution. So that I can basically say, this is what I want the program to do, and there's a lot of basically stuff in the background that makes programming and implementing so much quicker and easier that I can actually focus on part of like the business logic as far as what that form or what that modification or what that implementation should do.